your assets.
We can crack the wallet.
Oh, we've done it before.
We've got rigs, character adversary, attribution mode.
With our private keys combined.
Building some kind of blockchain super weapon.
There's just a number of vulnerabilities that are in the smart contracts.
Math. It's probably secure.
They all secretly mine cryptocurrency.
What coin can I trust? Which one is cryptographically secure?
Don't roll your own crypto.
CoinSec podcast.
Long time no podcast.
Hey!
The
The merge is here.
ETH 2.0 now.
We have arrived.
The internet's done, right? We've had ETH 2.0. Everything's good now.
Yeah,
If you've
the
been
entire
waiting-
world's autonomous. You got solar power. You got robots, AI, like generating art. Like nobody needs to create anything anymore. Like the money isn't like it's not sucking up all the energy anymore. So Corey can't complain about all the energy.
Dude, it's like what did
Issues.
it saved the power of like Costa Rica or something. It was like the entire it was like turning off like a million GPUs saved the power of like an entire small South American country, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
And GPU prices are low.
Unfortunately, now they're just burning off all that excess electricity instead of using it.
I don't think that's how it works, but I like the idea.
Yeah, it kind of is, but yeah.
Well, now GPUs are getting back to doing what they were supposed to do and
for
making
sure.
Fortnite look really good.
No, making
And
sick
making
AI
it-
art.
Yeah, sick AI art and making it so we can afford them now, right?
Yeah, except for 40 series. That's you have to be
Oh, yeah, I
rich to
guess-
afford those.
Yeah, Nvidia says we've set the bar at the price now, so
I know. Nvidia is just like, we don't know how it works. Like Nvidia is probably like, oh man, we need to bring back ETH 1.0.
they're like, how did we sell GPUs
That's
prior
probably why-
to cryptocurrency?
Yeah, that's probably why EVGA got out of the game, right? Like they're like, oh, crypto's out, or ETH's out. I guess we're gonna get out of this game too now.
Yeah. I definitely. I mean, apparently Nvidia is just kind of burning bridges along the way to extreme GPU prices, but we'll see.
Well, welcome to the CoinSec podcast, everyone. We kind of jumped right into that the merge there because it's a pretty hot topic, right? Like it's we've been talking about it for what, a couple years now.
So gas is free now, right? Zero Gwei.
Zero
Gwei.
Not quite.
Oh.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, that's one of the biggest things like here about like the whole concept of going to ETH 2.0 proof of stake, instead of proof of work network, is that it was going to affect gas prices.
Mhm.
And honestly, like I haven't seen that big of a difference yet. I mean,
Look
some
on
of
the
transactions
graph.
I've done-
Here's a good test. Look on the graph of gas prices over time and see if you can identify where the merge was.
Sure.
Spoiler alert,
Ryan,
you
yeah.
can't.
Ryan, pull up that next page. We'll get back to the chain here in a sec. But pull up that ethgas.watch that I have, that link on there. Yep.
By the way, everyone that's listening, we are on episode 69 here, and if you want to follow
Ooh,
along
nice.
yeah.
How can you not make a comment when it's episode 60?
If you want to follow along, I'm going to go ahead and paste the show notes into the live chat channel.
You
in
can
the
click
CoinSec
10
Podcast
times faster
Discord.
than Ryan. Also, Bo, your mining rig, I can see there in the background. It's
The
so
lights
my
are
goodness.
sad. And
It's off.
Lights are off.
Oh,
It's powered up. There it
wow.
is.
Times
I mean-
have changing. Who is the
I'll buy your GPUs from you.
lightly used? Never mind.
Yeah. They've only been mining for like 4 years straight.
Yeah. Well, we need a sad sound or something.
In the arms of the angels.
A sad
by Sarah
trombone.
McLachlan.
Yeah.
Package
pour
them
one
up
out.
in like a
Pour one
little
out
grave
for
and,
Bo's
like,
mining rig. Yeah.
send them off. Oh.
That's not sad. That's like. Oh.
There it is. There it died. Yeah,
So,
look at the graph right there. And
you can kind of like knowing it's on September 15th, right? So you can kind of see it. This like it's a little lower. The spikes are a little lower, but it's really not like
I
night
think
and day
that's
difference.
because there were less people transacting. Like the immediate like time window after the first 24 hours, because everybody's kind of scared what's happening. Is it going to crash? Is it going to break?
I mean,
You know,
maybe,
and then
but
you see to the right on the 20th and 21st, we're back up to normal gas prices, right?
I mean,
And
the
then
spikes are a
22nd 's
little
even
lower,
higher.
but yeah, I mean, it's basically kind of the same. I will say, like, honestly, compared to how it used to be, I think that 40 Gwei is not too bad. Like, it used to be like 250, 300. So,
Sure. That
I
depends on how many people are using it at any given time. You
I
can
think
see
we'll
on
see
the left
lower
where it's pretty
spikes. I
high.
don't think we'll see it above 200 for a while, but I could be wrong. I mean, gas prices are volatile, and they always will be. So,
Yeah, and that has a nice breakdown of average Ethereum transaction costs across like different platforms. So you can see Uniswap V2, what's it cost to do a
Right.
transaction there, $5. So we see the most expensive is ENS registration and layer 2 deposits.
it still isn't cheap. You can still pay $1 to send someone $1, which is just silly.
Right.
So one thing that's kind of interesting and a question I have is that, you know, with old proof of work network and whenever we saw those big spikes in gas prices, like with those quick jumps up to like 250, 300, like you're saying, Corey, a lot of times that happened whenever there was some event, right? Like some like mass trading event or some like an NFT minting or something, right? Where everyone's trying to rush and they're all cranking gas fees to try to be the first one. So does that so with the merge now with proof of stake, does that change how priority of transactions get processed? You know, like
I
that's
don't
one
think
thing
so.
I don't know.
I don't think it does. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think it does. Because the block speed is the same, right? So you still have to massively prioritize your transaction if you want something now.
Okay. Well, I guess congrats to Ethereum on merge.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
go
sure.
withdraw your Ethereum 2 staking now and profit, right? Ooh, wait, you can't because they're not letting you withdraw your Ethereum 2 staking proceeds until they decide it's okay, which is kind of an open-ended question. So
I mean,
those
I
of you
wouldn't want to
staking your
withdraw right
30
now anyway.
Well, right, and maybe that's part of what's driving the price. I don't know. Less people.
The
using
price
it, who knows?
has the price been impacted at all? I don't think it
I
has.
think it's directly from the merge. I don't think any person can say specifically. It's been trending down with and trending along with, of course.
It definitely,
Bitcoin.
it looks pretty much like just another volatile day. Like it doesn't, I don't know. It's honestly, I guess it's kind of what you'd want, right? If you're a developer and you're implementing this huge change, you kind of want things not to completely shift in overnight. Like it's probably a win if you're a developer and you push your huge code to production and it doesn't affect the price too much, doesn't affect the gas too much. It's just like kind of business as usual. That's actually a success, I think.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
We could be talking about the, ETH 2.0 outage disaster of 2022, but we're not. So I feel like that's a minor win and maybe why it took so long, just to make sure that they had to make sure that it wouldn't have any broad impacts on the network. But
Right. And I don't think one thing we have in here, Bo, that to talk about is a link, but Infura is doing some testing for decentralized hosting, I think, of the API. Is that correct? You were mentioning something about that.
Yeah, we saw there was a tweet. I don't know if they did a post or anything on it, but I saw that Infura's, one things that happened last year is Infura went down, and because a lot of the major wallet softwares rely on Infura's API, that affected a lot of transactions and a lot of people being able to transact. So they announced that they're going to do some sort of decentralized setup on their API now. Should be kind of interesting.
Yeah, so we don't want single point of failures, right? Something goes down, and I think we've seen that. And we've seen countries actually be able to block transactions just by blocking Infura.io or whatever the API endpoint is, right? So, we have to, if you want to speak decentralized, I don't know, we're kind of going the opposite direction with Ethereum in my point of view, but that's another argument. But we do have to have those decentralized access points for the networks. Otherwise, it's all kind of a moot point to have to say you're decentralized if you can only access it through one API, right? So.
Yeah,
or stand
I
up your
think
own node.
overall, I think that we've gotten to a point where like there's standards, and that's kind of it's not a problem with decentralization. It's just a problem with the way that people transact. We have certain technologies or apps or domains or whatever that are just kind of the standard, and obviously those are centralized. I mean, Coinbase is centralized. It's just the way it is. If that's the only way that you transact cryptocurrency, if some dude takes down their servers, you're not going to be able to transact, even though the blockchain is going just fine. So it's just something to know if you're getting into the space, is that standards are standards. Decentralized is a completely different thing that you might not be able to access if you're not used to doing transactions manually.
Yep. All right. So first security issue of the week. So vanity address generator, it's called Profanity, apparently has a vulnerability. So 1inch has claimed to have discovered a severe vulnerability in the Profanity tool. It's a tool that basically allows you to create vanity addresses. So this is different than like an ENS name, right? Like it's not like a name you buy. It's think of like just generating, millions and millions of Ethereum addresses, those long hex strings, and trying to get something that looks like legible out of the numbers and letters, right?
Like
So
Cafe
creating-
Babe or whatever, something like
Yeah,
that.
or like dead, beef or
Dead
whatever.
hobo.
Right? Yeah. So like that's it. We've seen people do similar stuff with other like, addresses and things before. And apparently this tool has an issue where that you could determine private keys based off of the vanity addresses.
Oof.
Yeah, so even the developer, so the Profanity anonymous developer,
They said they left it in the dust a year ago or two.
they
That's pretty
abandoned
funny.
it. Yeah, they abandoned it. They strongly advise against using the tool in its current state.
Huh. So it must be just
and-
something with how the blockchain works, where like if you are getting these addresses, there's some way to to reverse engineer.
If you
it
have
or-
enough power, yes, you could just generate your own of the same key.
Right.
I mean, we've seen a lot of these with Bitcoin over the years. Same thing, Warp Wallet and others, online key generators and things like that have come and gone. I think
Right.
the guy saw the light and bailed on this one earlier. But what interests me about this one is that who reported it, right? It was the CEO of 1inch who tweeted it out. Usually this comes from vulnerability researchers, putting it on like a hacking platform or something like a vulnerability disclosure or
It
something
might just be
that.
like an open secret, you know what I mean? Kind of like something that's known in the community, and this guy just felt the need to bring. It's kind of like, oh, people are still using 7-character passwords. Let me tweet about it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess 1inch were able to create a proof of concept that allowed them to recover private keys from any vanity address generated with Profanity at almost the same time that was required to generate that vanity address.
Right. So that's what I was saying. If you have enough power, you can just kind of reverse what the generation did, right? And just basically brute force the key. How Profanity works now is it randomly, quote unquote, randomly selects one of 4 billion seed private keys,
Which is not that many.
Not that many to start off with, right? And then it expands it deterministically to 2 million private keys. So
which is bad because deterministically means it can be reversed.
It can still be reversed, right? So, and then it derives public keys from those private keys. I mean, it's a bust from the beginning. So
yeah,
don't roll your own.
like
Don't roll your own crypto. Don't let others hold your crypto with their keys. All that good stuff goes.
And if you're using a vanity address, don't use it anymore.
Yeah, I mean they're cool, and use an ENS address or something.
They do say they say they're trying to determine what addresses were hacked. So I guess follow that if you use one or did use one at some point.
Well, you could probably just generate all of the keys out of this key set, right? And then just compare that to the blockchain.
That's what I assume they're doing, is just seeing if anyone ever actually used these wallets or if it was just kind of a fun little like weekend project.
Oh yeah, no. So I mean, this is no different than password cracking, right? So the public key, which would basically be in our case like a hashed password, right? Like we would have that hashed password, and we know that there's a list of 4 billion private keys, just like we have word lists that big,
Oh yeah, that's small in the grand scheme.
right? And so it just take generating a tool, which apparently 1inch did, to take each one of those 4 billion private
And then
keys,
check 'em.
hash it, and then check it against
Right.
the public
to see if it ever
hash.
had any assets.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess stay tuned. If you used one of those, definitely would migrate your funds already if someone already didn't do it for you.
And
So this
don't
leads us into our
use the
next
same-
story.
Yeah.
So Wintermute, $160 million was stolen.
Such a cool name, but such a
Hmm.
sad story.
Mhm.
So this one might be connected to that previous Profanity tool that we just talked about. So crypto trading firm Wintermute has lost $160 million in a hacking incident. The hack involved a series of unauthorized transactions that transferred USD Coin, Binance USD, Tether USD, Wrapped ETH, and 66 other cryptocurrencies to the attacker's wallet.
Wait, Tether USD? I thought that was worth nothing.
That's the only one that stays stable. Details surrounding the exact exploit method used to perpetrate the hack is unknown at the moment, although they've said that the attack was likely caused by a profanity type exploit in its trading wallet.
Mhm.
So basically, reversing the private keys because they were generated improperly.
Yeah, and
Stupidly, yeah.
Wintermute
Which
even
that's like-
acknowledged. They even
Such-
acknowledged that they did use profanity
Huh.
as recent as June.
Alongside an
For a
in-house
cold
tool.
or hot wallet on an exchange or something
So
of the
they-
like, why would you do that?
So yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like from a crypto perspective, this is like one of the oldest attacks out there. Is like reversing private keys from knowing the inputs at the time. Like
Mhm.
I remember I had crypto friends back in like 2010 that were super paranoid about generating private SSH keys and other like SSL keys using what seed data they used because like there was errors in pseudo random number generators and all that stuff. It's like this is one of those things like if you take any cryptography class, it's gonna have like some info about like is the data you're using for random generation actually random or is it deterministic, meaning is it like able to be reversed, the conditions you used. I guess what was the point of this? Did they do this just to have cool addresses for their users? Like it says they used the tool to specifically generate addresses with many zeros in front.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm
Trying to
not
create a padding
transacting. Yeah, I'm not transacting with anyone that doesn't have at least 5 zeros at the beginning of their ETH address. It's like, yeah, I guess what is is it just a cool thing that they didn't realize the security impact of, I guess?
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably
Guess that's-
handed that off to some developer who was like, what's the easiest way I can generate a wallet that looks cool? I don't know, maybe.
Mhm.
I
Hey-
would love to see the public address for this to see if it was named
We need that
something.
Steve Buscemi meme. Hey there, fellow kids.
Kids.
I can't. So I guess it says it's their trading wallet. So like it's possible that someone's investigating these profanity style tools and then they're like, oh, hold
here,
on, one of these is
$160 million.
Wintermute. Yeah, one of these addresses is a crypto exchange that thought it'd be cool to have 000000001 as their main wallet ETH address, and whoopsie, that was actually deterministic. And bye bye.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe just go with the default settings sometimes. Is that what we're learning? Don't try to be all fancy and church it up. Don't.
Don't church it up.
I don't know.
Don't church it up. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, at this point, we have ENS names. Like, there's no point in trying to make a fancy ETH address. You know, like.
Mhm.
But they're called Wintermute. It has to be cool. That's from what is that from Snow Crash or whatever from the book, William Gibson.
All right, moving on. So Shiba Inu cloud creds leak. So this one, this one I found very interesting because of just the cloud connection here. But so Shiba Inu developers leaked AWS access keys on a public code repository, resulting in compromise of their infrastructure.
Oof.
So this is one of those things I actually talk about it in my class quite a bit. Like this idea of publishing keys to a Git repo.
I think
And-
everyone's done this, right? On accident, and it's one of those things you learn early on. Don't do it.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
brutal.
and-
They were
and what's
valid
interesting,
for 2 days.
Yeah. So PingSafe, their research team, discovered the these creds were out there. I looked at the screenshots that they had posted, and it looked like environment variables, which is a pretty common thing, for AWS.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is like with GitHub, like they have tools in place to alert you when you post these kinds of things.
They
like,
scan for like AKID or the other Amazon access
Yeah.
token strings.
So it makes you wonder, like, how did these end up out there? Because this is not like just a random secret.
It doesn't say it was GitHub, so maybe they have their own GitLab, or they have like Bitbucket or something else. Maybe.
Oh,
I'm not
that's
sure.
a good point. Okay.
Like maybe it just
Yeah.
wasn't. Oh no, it looks like GitHub.
There it is.
Okay, I have a theory. Is
Yep,
everyone ready?
GitHub.
Here's my theory. The email they use. You know how you can like set up repos just with like command line. You don't have an email attached to it. They probably just didn't get the email that said, "We found credentials in your GitHub."
Oh yeah.
Or they're like, "This
that's
is
possible.
spam.
Well-
This is spam." Mark, move to junk.
And that was an AWS key, right? So that should have been
Yep.
emailed like immediately now.
Yes,
What was
GitHub
the
should
commit
immediately
date?
detect that.
Can you go back to that? What was the commit date? I wonder.
This was
August 22nd. August 22nd.
Yeah.
211 IST. I don't know what IST is.
Okay. So it was recent.
I mean,
That was quick.
yeah.
So what's cool though is, I mean, they took the keys and they were valid, right? So they tested them and they actually were able to list instances.
So that's a big problem, right?
Yeah,
Like this is like
that's a
this
big
is
problem.
this is triggering all of us because we're all in the traditional security space, and like this is very common in the traditional security space. So it's one of those things. It's like, oh, they got phished, classic. But yeah, I mean, really, these access keys shouldn't have access to that level of. I mean, I guess maybe they were just the admin keys, but really, in Amazon, you can have millions, billions of keys. They should all be like super low privilege, only able to do the very one thing they're required to do. And usually when you're setting this stuff up, Amazon will like walk you through like, let's set this up with minimal permissions. It's a pretty common, like, I mean, I guess you can just go and apply a template that says grant all permissions in EC2 or whatever. But really, this is one of those things that most companies should be aware of, most companies should be checking for, and it's so bad that GitHub actually checks it for you. So I guess, man, this just feels like it's a tough one to recover from, because it's so, not only was the access key set up with excessive permissions, because it looks like, were they able to actually take down their resources? Is that what they did? Is that what the attackers did? Or did they just access
This
it?
was a responsible disclosure, right? So they didn't actually do anything malicious here. So there's two things here. So first thing is, apparently the team at Shiba Inu did not respond to this group ping safe at all. So they published this after reporting it to them, and then got they sent emails to their like anonymous emails for Shiba Inu. No response was received.
Well, we already know they weren't reading their email because they didn't read the GitHub email. The GitHub email that said, "Hey, your credentials are exposed."
Yeah, so they didn't respond. I guess they ended up scrubbing it after they got the report. But the second thing is, I was wondering is like, what would the actual extent of damage have been, right? Like what is Shiba Inu's cloud environment for, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, if it's a blockchain product, right? Like they have nodes presumably everywhere, but like what would the compromise of server infrastructure? Because it looked like there was a database instance and at least an EC2 instance in this account. Like what could that be for? Like, is that just dev stuff maybe?
It could be. I mean, it could be their trading platform. It could be the entire front end for their cryptocurrency trading platform, or over the counter trading. Like, it could be nothing. It could be something major. It could just be development assets used for like building code, CI/CD kind of stuff. It could be. It's probably likely that if it's in Amazon, that it's something that's designed to be publicly accessible. So I think web application stuff, nodes, very, very likely it was something like that. And I think the damage could be significant. I mean, we've even seen, there was an instance years ago of, what was it, Code Pages or something? One of these like websites that was hosting all their stuff in AWS. The person compromised their way in, just deleted everything, just remove all instances, terminate, like shut it down, deleted all the backups, deleted everything, and they were just like, we can't recover. We don't have backups. Like all of our backups are in AWS. Everything was in AWS. If that goes down, if they terminate every instance, remove every backup, remove all their dynamic, data and everything, that's hard, can be really hard to recover from. So I guess it's kind of surprising. The other thing is, it is possible to set up alerting for this kind of stuff. Actually, on a recent engagement I was doing, I compromised some AWS keys, not from a public repo, but from file shares, and then used them. And they actually got an alert that said, AWS access from a new IP address. So there's multiple layers of security you can apply to these keys, which are highly recommended.
I've even seen people put fake keys out there, right?
Canary
And then
tokens.
Get alerted when somebody tries to use them. Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe not on GitHub would be a good place for that, but yeah, unfortunate for them this happened, but glad it was a responsible disclosure.
Yeah, they got really lucky this time. I guess if you're considering investing, make sure that you check out whether they've improved their security program, because to me that's an indicator that your security program is not functioning as intended, or it's not even present.
Not even present.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with no response, that's the biggest thing. Like, if you say like, "Thank you for your disclosure, here's a T-shirt," that's a huge difference versus just ignoring a researcher.
Yeah.
Because that's a big deal.
And silently patching it.
I'm not even sure if they
before.
patched it. I like reading the article. I'm not even sure if they patched it or if the keys just expired.
Or maybe they I
Or
guess
they just got
could
lucky and just yanked them out of the repo and then the keys expired. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, don't post keys in GitHub, guys. All right, next story. SudoRare rug pull. So NFT exchange SudoRare suffered an $800,000 rug pull 6 hours after launch.
Suffered? More like executed.
Suffered, yeah. Executed, yeah.
The users
Executed.
sufferred.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this one was copied from LooksRare. I think it was like
This is
clone,
this is an exchange. It's not like a Wow.
So they cloned LooksRare to an extent, right? Or supposed to be a fork, I guess, of LooksRare
by
and
an
Sudo
anonymous
swap.
team. That's like
should be a
get your
red
Red
flag.
Bull bingo cards out, everyone.
Yep. So it's supposed to allow users to create liquidity pools for NFT collections and collect fees by staking the project's native token SR. And a few hours after launching, they got some investments.
That's got to be a
6 hours.
record. That's got to be a record. 6 hours? That's got to be like the fastest Red Bull.
They withdrew about $315,000 in WETH, $200,000 in XMON, and $314,000 in Looks tokens from the exchange. So, don't
On the
invest
back
in
end,
anonymous
they
teams, maybe.
just have a script. Yeah, they just got a script that keeps running that anytime somebody deposits, it just shoots it to their Kraken account, right? So it's just never actually on the exchange. It's just
Well, so as it says, the Kraken is US based and should have KYC in place. Obviously, we all know that KYC only goes so far, and it doesn't save the world. You can Photoshop a driver's license. Just saying.
Yeah, Jack talked about that on one of his episodes.
Yes, he did. He
Darknet
talked
Diaries.
about it. Yep. That's how North Korea, they intentionally have lots of ways to bypass KYC or try to.
Lazarus Group.
Yep. So I guess we'll see where this goes. We'll see what happens. I'd like to say that the last line of this is kind of a shoulda, coulda, woulda. The theft occurred despite multiple warnings on crypto Twitter that SudoRare could be a scam. So I guess maybe if you're considering investing, Google it.
I mean, in all honesty, like everything's considered kind of a scam at this point, right? Like to some extent, right? I mean,
fair,
there's
but
always somebody.
let's put on our cynical hats and analyze this from a third party perspective, just going into it completely knowing nothing. Number one, it's a fork of another project. That's your first red flag. They didn't set up their own exchange. They didn't set up their own code base. They didn't set up their own name or anything. They're literally just like, I don't know, we changed the first name and now it's SudoRare. Yay. Second red flag, developers, creators, founders, all completely anonymous. No one knows who they are. They just have names, and maybe they're made to look like they're, established players, but they're not giving you, oh, my name is XYZ. I live in this country. I founded this company. Like, they're not humans. They're just like handles. So those two big red flags that maybe just wait and see. Maybe if it's been up for a while, it's kind of funny. This one rug pulled after 6 hours. So, wait 24 hours maybe before investing, even though they're going to pay 10,000% APR. Maybe consider waiting to invest until they rug it. So
Wait for that rug, then buy in.
now
you
it's a great time.
But then you miss all the gains,
You miss-
All the sweet gains in their locked contract you can't withdraw from.
No, that's the next story.
That's the next story.
Yeah, so the one we just talked about, they literally rugged $800,000. The next one accidentally rugged $661,000 by committing some code. So OptiFi, DeFi options trading protocol in Solana, accidentally shut down its mainnet, thereby rendering $661,000 in user funds inaccessible. So, according to the team's incident report, the mistake happened while trying to update the protocol's mainnet. The team said the process took longer than expected, probably due to network congestion on Solana.
I like how they're blaming Solana just to throw that into in there. That's funny.
As a result, they aborted the upgrade, but not before the process created an intermediary account.
So this is like when you get a Windows update and you hit OK, but then you're like cancel.
Yep.
And
it tells you do not turn off your system during the update.
So it does bring up the interesting thing of like, if you are going to reverse it, you have to know like what is going to happen if we do try to reverse this, right?
Well, and
That's
also
pretty
what
crazy.
the commands actually do. So they ran a command from the command line called Solana program close, which, if you listen to that command or you'd like just hear those words, you think like, oh, it's gonna
it's like
close.
kill-9, right?
Always run commands that you don't know what they do.
So unknown to the team, this command actually shuts down a protocol and freezes its tokens permanently. I'm sorry, that's just...
It is absolutely hilarious.
Imagine writing this as a developer. This has got to be the most rough thing to write.
Imagine getting rugged for $661,000.
Well, hold on. You didn't get rugged. Here, it turned out we didn't really understand the impact and risk of this closing program command line. It's actually for permanent closing and sending the SOL tokens to the buffer account back to the recipient wallet. And then it says, OptiFi will compensate the affected users.
Yep.
So, woof. That's bad.
I would never use that again.
Yeah, I guess I would say like unless they make their entire developer team new and start over from scratch, I wouldn't recommend this because it's one of those things. We talk about this in the traditional security space. Don't run tools that you don't know what they do. Don't if you don't know what this binary you downloaded does, don't run it. It's not rocket science. If you're, and I understand in the moment it was probably like we need to abort this, that this is going badly. I'm sure it was a panic situation, but in a panic situation, as many of us know, that is the worst time to start running things you don't know what they do.
No.
And especially when you have funds at stake.
RTFM, read the effing manual.
Yeah, and the other thing that makes this really beyond what's okay is that there are test nets, there are dev nets, there are fake, you can play with fake money on Solana, you can play with fake money on any blockchain platform, and you should. If you're going to push this, push it in dev. If you have to revert it in dev and see what happens. Oh, turns out I just locked 600K worth of funds on a dev chain, not that big of a deal. Locking 600K worth of funds on the main chain, really big deal. So, whoopsie.
Yeah.
That's almost as costly. That might be the most expensive command to run in the last few years.
Oh yeah.
Or last few
hilarious.
months.
You're right.
There was that time when Amazon went down because someone ran a bad command and accidentally terminated 80% of their instances on S3. That was a while ago, but this probably takes the crown for the most recent, most expensive command ever run.
So the Solana DeFi protocol says in response, I guess it's going to employ a peer surveillance approach. So in future contract deployments, this means it has to go through 3 steps of approval to prevent future mistakes. So that's 3 people shoulder surfing you going, hey, do we really know what this command does? Are you really sure you know what this command does? Hey, buddy, I don't know if you two know what you're doing, but I think I know what this command does, right? And then it finally gets done.
So maybe this brings up a good place for DAO. Like you have a DAO of commands. So like you
Oh
submit,
my god!
all right, so I'm gonna submit this next command to the DAO, and it's gonna be voted on.
Yeah, right. RMRF. No
DAO is
proofs.
aka the oligarchy of cryptocurrency. It's like I'm rich enough, so I'm able to nuke this blockchain.
Yep.
All right, next story we got FBI warning about DeFi hacks. So the FBI has asked decentralized finance platforms to beef up security measures. They have,
Okay.
they've seen enough.
If you ask nicely, maybe.
Yeah.
They've
Hey,
had enough. They've
we
had
know you
enough
may
of,
not be able to
hacks.
afford it because crypto is worth crap right now, but go ahead and beef up your security team by, 12 people to make sure that people don't run the wrong command.
Oh god!
Too soon.
Too soon.
Yeah. So that's, pretty much that story. It's just,
Yeah, great they're doing it, but again, they're putting the burden, passing the buck to somebody else when, if you're going to say, hey, you have to abide by a certain level, then, some funding or something, training, teaching, should come with that.
They are targeting
are
DeFi,
they trying
though. They're
Yeah,
just
are they-
targeting DeFi.
Yep.
Why? Are they covering some bases? Are they covering asses? What are they
No,
covering?
I think
So-
they're going based. So, like the statistic they give in the news article says 97% of cryptocurrency thefts between January and March 2022 were from DeFi platforms, which is like an interesting window to look at. But the Ronin Bridge was what, 650 mil? it
600.
says?
Yeah.
So like a huge amount. So I don't know. That's probably why they're targeting.
That's true, and it does specifically say in here that criminal generally exploit DeFi platforms by initiating a
Flash loan.
flash loan vulnerability. Now they say flash loan vulnerability, but I don't really know if I don't really know if that's a vulnerability. Code is law. They're just doing what the code allows them to do, but at the end of the day, it's intent and it's wrong. But
Exactly.
yeah, they're
they-
exploiting something else.
Yeah, and they do give some, I guess, like recommendations, which I find these very vague, but the FBI does give some recommendations. They say, institute real-time analytics, monitoring, and rigorous testing of code in order to more quickly identify vulnerabilities and respond to indicators of suspicious activity. So create some monitoring, right? Audit your stuff, same stuff we talk about all the time. Develop and implement an incident response plan that includes alerting investors when smart contract exploitation, vulnerabilities, or other suspicious activity is detected. As of right now, that last statement is literally just the company tweeting out, "Hey, so we've been hacked." Say bye.
1 out of 100. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
this sounds like a PCI assessment, right? Or assessment of PCI related documents, right? You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to alert people if there's been a breach, you have to have the like a disaster recovery plan that's required, right? So sounds
It
a
is
lot
funny
like
that,
like they're steering it towards that kind of policy, right?
And it's funny that a lot of the times we talk about, blockchain's the future. This is all cutting edge. It's really amazing. It's like quite, it's very complicated. It's going to save the world or it's going to ruin the world depending on which side you sit on. But then this is like the most basic security stuff. It's like have real-time monitoring. Okay, thanks. 2005 called it, wants its recommendation back. Also, develop incident response plans. Again, this is like security 101, but it's interesting to me, and I'm mentioning it because I think a lot of these companies, they get caught up in what is possible and what is the blockchain side of things and all that, and they forget all the traditional security stuff, which is like, you can't do that. If you're going to build on these super amazing platforms and amazing things, you have to also build in the security that we all depend upon. Like it's not that different. At the end of the day, you can still get phished. It doesn't matter if you're on Web3, decentralized, RPC, everything. You can still get phished. So I think it's just an interesting kind of reminder from the people that are investigating a lot of these hacks saying like, hey, we're investigating all these and you guys are doing a terrible job. Like, it's kind of the FBI throwing shade. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I will say the good side of it is if you're a company that does these kinds of security products within the cryptocurrency space, like if you're doing a real-time monitoring solution, now there's actual like government. You can be like, hey, the FBI said to do it. It's not just us telling you to do it. Like the FBI recommends having real-time analytics on your chain, so do it. Like it's just kind of pushing things, and that's the same thing we've had in the security space, like PCI or CISA or DoD standards or NIST. Any of this stuff is like pretty standard. So now we're getting there with cryptocurrency again, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe
well,
we're gonna-
standard.
so-
Yeah, go ahead, Bo.
I was gonna say, so instead of PCI, maybe we're gonna have BCI. We're gonna have blockchain.
Well, to be fair, there should be something, right? I mean, it's literally like the Wild
Blockchain
West
industry.
again. Yeah, it's like the early 90s internet, right? How do we find a website? I don't know, type this number in, and
Yeah.
we're at that point where it's starting to become adopted and used, and where people are making money and losing money. So people have a vested interest now.
So who's gonna be the first company to sell BCI compliance testing?
Right?
I mean,
BCI.
I'm sure everyone's working on it, because right now it's like you get audited and then there's just like a report that like the layperson has no way of looking through this.
And
like,
anybody can make a report out of thin air with,
Right.
no merit behind it and no standards to adhere to. Yeah, there
Yeah.
should be something.
So this kind of ties into, I don't know if we had the story on the article or on the show notes, but the White House like allocating funds and things to help blockchain investors not get rugged, basically. So this
Sure, I
is
can
like
add that
another government initiative. We'll throw it in the show notes. Read it on your own time if you want. But basically, this is the first ever comprehensive framework for responsible development of digital assets, which just sounds like bureaucracy made up the name. But what it really is targeted at is more protecting consumers from bad actors and bad companies in the space. It's basically talking about, how to basically coming up with these frameworks and coming up with these compliance standards and things that hopefully cryptocurrency companies will use to demonstrate they are up to speed or up to snuff to be worthy of your investment. But I guess on a broader note, it's just interesting to see that the government is putting assets and time and money and press releases into cryptocurrency. Like it's not like this is a fad. This is this is going to go away. This is like, I think it's here to stay. The government's in on it. And they're interested in trying to protect consumers and establish some kind of standards for it. But someone should definitely review these and tell us if they're BS or not.
Very cool. Yeah, so I added that in into the show notes there. So last thing, Tornado Cash is back on GitHub.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so check for any back doors.
It's in read-only mode.
Yeah. So you can't commit. Steve, have you forked it yet?
I just saw it as of the show notes. They updated the Merkle tree on August 22nd is the latest thing. I wonder if somebody put something.
This has to just be like public backlash. This is just a way to make people stop tweeting at them. That's all this is, in my opinion. Like, I don't think, obviously Tornado can't use this as their development environment because it's locked. Like, you can't publish new changes to it. So it's just there, I guess, as like a fun little don't at me, basically, from GitHub. GitHub's like, stop. We'll put it back. Just leave us alone.
Yeah, I agree.
Or it could be compliance based, or like it could be.
Oh, no! Now they're coming after me.
I will say this could be an interesting kind of like new world of, how like they could sanction GitHub for not taking down Tornado Cash, but this is like an interesting middle ground where it's like you can't sanction us because you can't publish code into it, but also we're having it here for people to be able to download. So I don't know. Right. It's a weird mixed approach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, was there any kind of press release with that?
I don't
Was
think
there...
so.
Let's go to their website. Oh, the site's still down. Tornado.cash. So the website's not there, but the GitHub is.
Well, it's not there in the U.S. I'm sure it's there if you go to Bulgaria.
Well, I'm proxied through Iran right now, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So I guess the U.S. Treasury clarified that sanctions against Tornado Cash did not apply to people's ability to share and read the app's code.
Right.
So running the code is what I guess is sanctioned, but the ability to share and read it is not, right? So
yeah.
I guess that's like saying like I don't know, like you can read and write about like super illegal stuff, but you can't actually do it.
Yeah,
Something
it's
like that, right?
there's so many legal loopholes like this. Like the classic example I can think of is like fireworks. It's like
The
it's like-
anarchist cookbook.
or that like fireworks are banned in your state. You can still buy them. You just have to sign a waiver that says you totally won't light them off at all. Or, like,
Yeah, like in your own state, right? Like, no,
Yeah.
you got to go to another state for this.
yeah, or like possession versus distribution. Yeah, or like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's not legal to sell lasers in the United States, but you can buy lasers. Like, it's like yeah, like there's like handheld laser pointers over a certain
Sure.
wattage. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's one of those things. I don't think anyone that was going to start up a Tornado Cash clone, I don't think this is like the push they needed to do it. Like I don't, and then there will be clones. It's just like the Silk Road or the Pirate Bay or any of those other things where like you cut one head off the snake and it regenerates 5 more or whatever. So yeah, we're gonna have not tornado.cash in a couple months, I'm sure.
Yeah, and people are still using Tornado because I mean we got an alert today.
Yep.
Yeah.
200 ETH went through.
Yep, it's
Or 1,000. No,
sanctioned.
there's 1,000 today.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
the same thing as like it's sanctioned, right? North Korea's sanctioned too, but they somehow still get enough parts to make missiles somehow. So like people somehow the crypto finds a way, I guess. But
Crypto finds a way.
Jurassic Park. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! Now we can.
I already
make
coined it
shirts.
once for malware finds a way. Now let me coin it again. The same
like it.
exact thing.
We need a sticker. All right. Well, guys, got anything else?
I mean, what should we do for episode 69? Something special?
I mean,
We're
we just
here.
did it.
I mean, yeah, we did.
Oh no.
It's a little late for that. Maybe next time we should plan better.
Yeah, I guess
Now we
it's
gotta-
kind of quiet right now. I mean, the the market's down, so there's probably not a ton of new startups and things, and I don't know. We'll see. We could have a
Yep.
follow-up section where we talk about what convicted blockchain criminals are up to nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Razzlecon, that's the only one we know about, right? Like, what's she
She's
up
the
to?
only one that
Well,
posts
she's not
publicly.
convicted yet, though.
She's
Oh.
not sentenced. I think. Well,
Yeah.
so yeah, let's update it. Right now, she is starring in a limited series at Hulu.
Wait, what?
I mean, we already talked about how she was definitely going to get all the all the shows and press. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
probably. She's gonna get a record deal too.
But she's gonna be played by Lily Collins. I don't know who that is, but
Is
I hope
this
she's
for real?
into. Yeah, it's real.
Oh Lord.
It's going to be called Razzlecon, the infamous Crocodile of Wall Street, a true crime series in the works at Hulu.
Wait, like legit? There's a show in the works? I thought you were kidding.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not kidding. I mean,
Oh, man.
this is according to Deadline. I don't know if that's a legitimate news source or not, but
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to stay tuned for that one.
Maybe we can get an interview with the one and only Crocodile of Wall Street.
Mm,
yeah,
that'd be awesome.
I mean,
if you're
that
out
would
there
be
listening,
amazing.
we totally want to talk to you. Just come on board.
Yes. We might make fun of you, but you can make fun of us even more.
We could make a rap video. I've been in one of those.
There you go. We already have experience.
Yeah,
Not
we
only do
have
we have
experience.
crypto and security experience, we have rap video experience.
Yeah, and if you need like a lead guitar for one of your songs, I can toss that in
Oh,
there.
yeah. Soundtrack. Who doesn't need a soundtrack for their upcoming show?
Yep. All right. Well, it's been fun, guys. Let's wrap this one up. Next week, I think some of us are out, so we won't be able to do it next week. But the week after that, we'll probably be back.
Stay safe out there.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. Smash that subscribe button, like, all the things, follow us on Twitter, all that stuff.
Oh, and
we'll-
see us out at Wild West Hack Fest if you're going to be
Yes.
there. We will be there in Deadwood, South Dakota in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I think.
It's coming up.
Week and a half.
Couple-
yeah, something
yeah.
like that.
More than that. But yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for listening. Bye.
All right. Thank you.